Hey, how are you? I'm here to do some storytelling for you, and the story that I want to do for you is a story that's part of the African American tradition from a long time ago, part of our darkest hours here in early America. It's a story called High John the Conqueror. But it's a great story in that it talks about resilience, about the cleverness of our people, and how fun John was. Goes like this. High John, the Conqueror, had a wonderful memory. He could remember a lot of things. They call it today maybe a photographic memory. He could remember who said what, when they said it, how it was said, to whom it was said, and whatever the response was to what was being said, he could remember it. His memory was famous all over the plantation. He knew all the begats, who was born to who. He knew how many taters were in the cellar, the root cellar for selling. He knew how many bales of cotton had to be picked. He knew so much, and he remembered it. So much so that Master would take him to meetings with him so that he could have John there with him, because Master's memory, it sucked. He couldn't remember nothing. So he made sure he took High John with him, and it impressed his other friends too. So there was John on this one particular day, just minding his business, and Master on his great plantation, something looked like the background in this wonderful piece of art right here. On that plantation, Master went to a meeting and he took John with him. And he wanted to make sure that John listened to every single thing. And John did too. Well, I tell you what, John's memory became famous, so famous that even the devil had heard about his memory. Yeah, you see, the devil was down in hell and he had an old memory mix up his own self. He couldn't remember all those people down there, what all they were down there for, and what he was supposed to do with them. So he went to Master. One day there was the Master standing. He was an old white man with a long white beard. It appeared all of a sudden the devil. He said, Master, Master, I heard all about John and his wonderful memory. Master, I need him. I'm in the middle of an old memory mix up my own self. And Master said, no, you can't have John. John worth more than all them horses out there and a mule or two. The only way you can have John is you got to make the deal nice and right. Now, those of us who know, because we've dealt with the devil before, he runs a pretty hard bargain. We know about that. And he talked back and forth with the Master until finally he agreed to give Master all of the lands that he could see. And Master said, all right, this is how you can get John. If you can fool John's memory, then you can take him. Quick as that, the devil was gone. He went running because, see, the devil was arrogant. He just knew he could fool John. And there was John out in the field doing what John did mostly all the time when he wasn't remembering who said what they said, when they said it, how it was said, and to whom it was being said to. John would be out in the field, he'd be plowing. And he'd have his horse, and he'd be singing this song. Gonna see Miss Liza, and I'm going to Mississippi. Gonna see Miss Liza, and I'm going to Mississippi. Get out, horse. Doom 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 doo doom 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 doo doom 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 doo doom 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 doo. And the devil appeared before him. He said, John, John, John. John said, yes, sir. John, do you like eggs? John said, yes, sir, I do. Quick as that, the devil was gone. He was out of sight. It was almost as if he never was there. He was gone for like a week. The week turned into month. Months turned into months, and a whole year went by. Oh, all right. 40 years went by. and the devil came back. Master was still forgetful, walking around not remembering even where his teeth was. Where are my teeth? I can't. But John still had that strong back. He was a little bit more bent because he was 40 years older too, human being that he was. But he was right there in the field singing his song and plowing. Gonna see Miss Eliza, and I'm going to Mississippi. Gonna see, well, he ain't seen it yet. I don't know when he's gonna see her, but he kept singing. Gonna see Miss Eliza, and I'm going to Mississippi. And the devil appeared. The devil said, John, tell me how, John? How? John said, fried. Gonna see Miss Eliza, and I'm going to Mississippi. Woo! That's the end of the story. Hi, John the Conqueror.
Black girl magic is how everyone hears my mother's accent except me. I know what she had to sacrifice to be called American. It's the ability to rep an entire race, being the only brown spot in a bowl of milk. I am part of the beginning. Black women gave birth to the world and breastfed America. More than the sum total of our cornrows, overeducated, overqualified, always underestimated, overlooked and mocked, simultaneously imitated by the critics, like when 6th grade white girls didn't speak because I was different, but grabbed my arm to measure their suntans against my melanin. Does not know my native language, but mastered the ability to code switch with articulate speech and elevated pitch. Said to be gravity-defying curls dripping in homemade hair grease. Can show up as a teeny-weeny afro, be 8 inches in burgundy tomorrow. Tastes like gumbo made in flooded Louisiana kitchens. As good as Patty Pie's 2015 Christmas. Clear throats that swallow pride for paychecks. Only earning 68% of the American dollar. It's calmness amid racist comments in the office. The mixture of Borican and Taino Indian. Bonchinche and candles burning in botanicas. Soul full of the likeness of God, it had to manifest through big lip kisses. Tough love whose time out was sending me outside to get my own switch. Everything and nothing all at the same time. Been told to sit in the back, shut up and take it. Made to apologize for being a victim. Accused of being promiscuous because of our curves. Women secretly envy us. Men openly rape us. Black women. It's okay to be angry and broken at the same time. We are not pillars of strength. It's a higher threshold for pain. Our magic makes this struggle look attractive. Being told what we should become while everyone else is racking up bucks impersonating and selling black girl magic. Imitation is not flattery when no credit is given to the original. God was trying to tell us something when Whoopi curled her fingers and said, till you do right by me, everything you think about is gonna fail. Black women know your worth. We were stolen because the sun reflecting off melanated skin shines like gold. We are still of the highest value.
Black mother, I must confess that I still breathe, though you are not yet free. What could justify my crying start? Forgive my coward's heart. But blame me not, for the sleep is me, for I've just awakened from a deep, deep sleep. And I be hazed and dazed and scared, and vipers fester in my hair. Black mother, I curse your drugging years, the rapes, heartbreaks, sweat and tears. But this cannot redeem the fact that you died in vain. And I turned my back and ran into the mire's fog and watched while you were dogged and died 1,000 deaths. But I swear, on seas not dark and gloom, a rose I will wear to honor you. And when I fall, the rose in hand, you'll be free, and I am man. For a slave of natural death who dies, he cannot balance out to two dead flies. I'd rather be without the shame, a bullet lodged within my brain. For if I were not to reach our goal, let bleeding cancer torment my soul.
presented by Sankofa Kuumba Cultural Arts Center of Hartford, Connecticut. I am Femi Bogle Asigai, and what I'm about to do is to give you a kind of understanding of what Kwanzaa is about, and then show you how we set up the Kwanzaa table and explain the meaning of the symbols. This is a ceremony that's some 50 plus years old now. It was introduced to us by our great scholar, Dr. Maulana Karenga. And it is a celebration that is practiced and celebrated throughout the entire African diaspora. So if you go into the Caribbean, you will find Kwanzaa ceremonies, South America, Central America, Europe, Southeast Asia, even on the continent of Africa, there's Kwanzaa. So what is in fact Kwanzaa? Kwanzaa is a cultural celebration born out of our struggle for freedom and justice. We strive to reorder our lives, practice and promote new ways to relate to each other in the world. In fact, we're here filming this in the Amistad Center for the Arts here in Connecticut. Again, we have struggled for freedom and for justice. So it is a celebration of a life free from what I will call state-sanctioned violence and genocide, economic injustice, and inhumane treatment in all areas of people activity, which we as Africans have been experiencing this entire 2020, with the loss of many of our children at the hands of the state apparatus. It is a celebration of family, community, and culture. Kwanzaa is celebrated to ground us, to anchor us, and to unite us as Africans in America and across the globe. Our ceremony requires that we use the language of Kiswahili to say habari gani, habari gani. In the language that we understand as English, what's the word? What's up? What's going on? Wagwan, yow. And Asante Sana. How goes it? One of the things we do in our Kwanzaa celebration is that we pour libation to our ancestors. We pour libation to our ancestors because what we want to do is to draw on their strength and to invite them into our celebration. In this instance, I have water that I'm using to pour that libation. What you do in pouring the libation is you call the name of your bloodline ancestors, and you say, Susan, Ashe, and then you call the names of our global heroes and ancestors. So we say, Malcolm, Ashe, Martin, Ashe, Yasantiwa, Ashe, Nahinda, Ashe, Nzinga, Ashe, Rosa, Ashe. And we do this to the four corners of the planet. The four corners of the planet, the north, the south, the east, and the west. What are the symbols of Kwanzaa? Let's look at the symbols. We first have the straw mat, which is here. The straw mat is the MK, the makeup straw mat, which represents our foundation. The mat represents our foundation as African people. The Canara, the candle holder. Now the bandera represents the roots of our ancestors. The roots of our ancestors. We have the Mushumu Saba, the candles themselves. The candles themselves. The black is obviously for the people. Red represents the struggle of the people. Green represents our future or the food. We have the Kimbocha Ujama Cup, which is sometimes called the Unity Cup. The Unity Cup, the cup that is bringing us together. We have the Meso, that's the crops. So we have the Meso, there are fruits over here, you can have yams, you can have pumpkins, all of the crops that represent our food and fruits that we eat. And the Mohindis, the ears of corn. Now I have several ears of corn here, but they represent the children in your household and all other children, because all children belong to us as African people. And then we have the bandera. The bandera is our nationalist flag, which is the red, black, and the green, as in the candles. We also have the Zawadi. Now, the Zawadi is important because these are gifts that are given on the last day of Kwanzaa. And these are not just any old gifts. We don't just buy any old gifts. We give to our children very specific gifts, and usually those gifts are books, and books that speak to the history of African people, speak to our history again in the diaspora and on the continent, and also a special heritage gift. So that, for example, a gift such as this, which is a makandi. A makandi is a family tree, and that speaks to our family. Or this fertility doll, or in this instance, the Sankofa bird, the bird after whom this organization is named, the Sankofa bird. The candle lighting ceremony. The candle lighting ceremony. It is important to use real matches. Do not use a lighter or anything that is artificial. Use the real matches, because within our African tradition, our African culture, we like to use all those things that are natural to the environment, natural to the human environment. So we begin with the black candle. We begin with the candle that represents the people. I'm not going to light these candles today for safety purposes, and you should be very careful when you are lighting your candles at home. So they're not close to curtains, they're not near the children, and you ought to put them out once they've all been lit and you've experienced that. So we light the black candle. Following the black candle, we light the red one, blood of the people, or struggle, represents struggle. Following the lighting of the red candle, we then light a green candle, which represents our future, or food, or the land. And then we alternate. We go back to lighting a red candle, then a green candle, then a red candle, then a green candle. And to remember this process, to remember the process for lighting the candle, remember this statement: a people who struggles have a future. So when black people struggle, they have a future. And if you think in that way, you will remember how to light the candles. What are the values and the principles of Kwanzaa? In other words, the Nguzo Saba. This is what many people think of when they think of Kwanzaa, the Nguzo Saba. The Nguzo Saba contains 7 very specific principles. The first one of which happens on December 26th, the first day of Kwanzaa, the day after December 25th. And it's Umoja, unity, our togetherness. We light our candle and we come together. And what we do is we reflect and we reorient ourselves and look at our success or otherwise over the last year. 2020 has been a difficult year for people of African ancestry. Our second principle is Kujichagulia. Kujichagulia, self-determination, requires that we name ourselves, define ourselves, and speak for ourselves. Because it is important. You cannot call yourself free unless you express and practice freedom. And then Ujima. Ujima is collective work and responsibility. The ethics of sharing good among your family, your community, and the world. Uchama, cooperative economics. Buy from each other, spend our money with ourselves, and do for each other. Come together and collectively make ourselves economically strong. And then Nia, purpose. Actions and consequences. It is important to know your purpose, and you know your purpose in your good deeds. Kuumba, creativity. That is our approach at reorienting, redefining, recreating a just world for ourselves and others. And then Imani, which is faith, spirituality, not seeking any favors from our oppressors, but looking to be peaceful and to engage in those activities that allow us to do those things that bring us again together and to perform those tasks that will be good for ourselves, good for our families, good for the world, good for our community. So if we live by those principles and keep those principles as central to what we do. So again, Kwanzaa is a practice. It is not something that happens merely between December 26th and January 1st. Those are the 7 days in which we celebrate Kwanzaa. So I will leave you by saying that with the celebration of Kwanzaa, we ought to look at continuing the struggle. What struggle am I talking about? The struggle for justice and freedom. For as long as we keep struggling for justice and freedom, we will get the kind of world that we want. Keep the faith, hold the line, love and respect our people and each other. Seek and speak truth, do justice and demand justice. Be constantly concerned with the world and with those in the world. Dare to rebuild the overarching movement that makes possible a good and ethical world that we all want and should live in. So with that, I will say go in peace, have a wonderful Kwanzaa, enjoy the period between December 26th and January 1st. Be as close to your family as you can be in the midst of what we're told is a pandemic. Go, again, in peace, enjoy your family in the best way you can during this period. Sankofa Kuumba would like to thank you for viewing this. The Amistad Center would like to thank you for viewing this. All praises.